Hello everyone, it's great to see you back on the channel today. We continue with the stormy story of the single mother, Hoai Ca, and the former police officer who once lived his life on the front lines, Hung. In the previous episode, you may remember, Hung had just 1 week left to make his final decision, to sign the transfer order and commit his life to the police force, or to put an end to a career so many others dream of, and start down a completely new path. During his break, he tried his hand at trading, even investing heavily in a pomelo orchard in hopes of stabilizing his finances and spending more time with Hoai Ca and little Tony. But life was never as easy as he imagined. Just as Hung struggled between the two crossroads, unexpected troubles began to strike. Challenges from the marketplace, and from those who didn't want him to succeed, appeared at the worst possible time, making his choice even harder and more complicated. Hoai Ca, a woman who had already endured so much pain, now faced the risk of losing the very support she had just found. How would she react, watching Hung torn between duty, love, and the harsh weight of survival? And Hung, would he have the strength to overcome these new trials? More importantly, which path would he ultimately choose for his future? Stay tuned for today's episode to find out. That morning, the sky was clear and blue. Gentle breezes drifted through the pomelo trees, carrying with them the faint fragrance of lingering blossoms. In the orchard, Hoai Ca bent down, her calloused yet delicate hands carefully cradling each cluster of golden fruit. Every pomelo she cut down felt like a sweet reward for all the days spent under sun and rain. As she worked, she thought of the moment she would load them onto the cart and bring them to market, her heart swelling with a simple, genuine joy. Meanwhile, back at the house, Hung busied himself tying up fresh sacks that still smelled of new fabric, pulling the cords tight around each bundle. He even propped the bamboo ladders more securely, so Hoai Ca could use them safely. Small tasks, perhaps, but for a man once used to holding a gun, they carried a whole new meaning. They were the careful gestures of a husband, of a father-to-be. When everything seemed ready, Hung dusted off his hands and was about to head out to help in the orchard when the phone in his pocket suddenly rang. He answered, thinking it was only a routine call about finalizing the orchard's transfer. But no, the cold, firm voice of the orchard's owner froze him in place. "Sorry, Hung. I won't sell anymore. I'll return your deposit immediately, don't worry." For a moment, the air turned to stone. Hung thought he had misheard, but the next words weighed down his chest like lead. Someone else offered a higher price. "Pomelos are soaring right now, I can't miss this chance. I hope you understand." A flash of fury lit Hung's eyes. He remembered every handshake, every signed paper, every coin exchanged. All of it proof of trust and goodwill between them. And now, just for a little profit, the man dared to break it all so brazenly. Hung's body stiffened. His hand trembled around the phone, veins bulging across his knuckles. Memories from his police days came flooding back, those times he had seen liars exploit trust for gain. And now, he himself was the victim of such deceit. A storm of questions pounded his mind. If I let this slide, what will Hoai Ca think? What will happen to this little family? Will all the planning of these past months be for nothing? Anger mixed with helplessness swelled in his chest, ready to burst. He lifted his eyes toward the yard, bathed in golden sunlight, and beyond it, Hoai Ca's figure still working tirelessly among the pomelo trees. The sight only deepened his resolve. He could not allow this betrayal to pass unanswered. His grip on the phone tightened, his voice dropping low, each word heavy as stone. "You think I'll let this go so easily?" Hearing the blatant injustice from the orchard owner, every word over the phone cut into Hung's pride like a knife. With the instincts of a man who had spent years in the force, he instantly knew this wasn't just a case of changing one's mind. Somewhere in the shadows, there were unscrupulous traders pulling the strings, tempting the owner with higher prices, scheming to push him out from the very start. That thought only fueled Hung's fury. It wasn't just betrayal of trust, it was the stench of dirty tricks aimed to crush him before he could even begin. The fire inside him surged. His voice hardened, every word striking like steel through the phone. This can't be brushed aside. I'll come in person. We need to talk, face to face. Moments later, Hung's car screeched to a stop at the orchard. He stepped out, his expression stern. The owner stood in the middle of the field, his face a mask of guilt and unease. There was no need for small talk, Hung cut straight to the point. Why are you suddenly canceling? We signed papers, exchanged the deposit. This isn't something you can just walk away from. The man looked away, sighed, and stammered. To tell the truth, lately greenskin pomelos are scarce, and traders are swarming. They offered me much more, and told me, just return his deposit, you'll lose nothing and gain more. I thought it was that simple. At that, Hung understood immediately. Classic tactics, prey on greed, break contracts, shatter trust. But he didn't let his anger boil over. He inhaled deeply, then spoke slowly but firmly. I'm not here to argue, but to make things clear. On paper, in black and white, we signed a binding agreement. If you cancel now, the law demands more than returning the deposit, you'll owe heavy compensation. Do you think those traders will shoulder that burden for you? No. They're just using you. The owner flinched, his face paling. Hung fixed him with a steady gaze, his tone dropping but carrying sincerity. I'm not the kind of man who twists arms. I know everyone wants a better price. But hear me out, when harvest comes, if the market price rises, I'll pay you more so you can profit too. What I need is fairness. What you need is credibility. Keep your word this time, and there will be opportunities for us to work together in the future. The balance of firmness and fairness, law and sincerity, slowly eased the man's resistance. His shoulders slumped, and after a long breath, he muttered, You're right. I was foolish to listen to their lies. This was a mistake. The contract stands. I won't back out again. Relief washed over Hung like a weight lifted. He smiled faintly and shook the man's hand firmly. On the drive home, one truth settled deeper than ever. The marketplace demands not only capital, but grit and wisdom to withstand its storms. Yet the battle was far from over. When he ended the call and strode to his car earlier, his eyes had burned with determination. Without hesitation, he had gripped the keys, his steps heavy but resolute, the engine's roar sounding like a silent declaration of war. From the orchard, Hoai Ca had seen him rush to the car and shouted anxiously, Hung, where are you going? He only glanced back, gripping the wheel tightly, his voice unwavering. I have to end this now. If I let them push me once, they'll never stop. The car tore down the road, leaving behind a cloud of dust, and the unshakable worry in Hoai Ca's eyes. In her heart rose a fear. Was this just a simple negotiation, or the beginning of a far more dangerous clash, where justice and greed would collide head-on? After settling matters with the orchard owner, Hung felt a measure of relief. The firm handshake and renewed promises reassured him that, at least for now, the pomelo orchard was safe. Standing in the middle of the grove, he drew in a deep breath. The earthy scent of freshly watered soil mixed with the sharp fragrance of pomelo leaves, and he felt as if he had stepped into a new chapter of life, simple, yet filled with trials. He walked slowly along the narrow paths. The afternoon sun poured down over clusters of heavy green fruit, the leaves swaying in the breeze. From time to time, Hung bent down to check whether any trunks had been damaged by pests or tampered with. His sharp eyes, once trained for investigations and pursuit, were now turned to protecting trees, this orchard, both his asset and his hope for the future. And yet, as he strolled the grove, another feeling stirred inside him. He remembered the days in uniform, chasing criminals, staring danger in the face, but filled with pride for serving justice. Compared to those days, this trade seemed gentler, but it carried its own burdens: competition, fickle markets, and unscrupulous dealers willing to cheat for profit. He lifted his face toward the sky, a question echoing endlessly in his mind. Which path should I choose? The police force, with ideals and duty, but a life away from family? Or trade, with the closeness of Hoai Ca and the chance to raise Tony, but riddled with traps and uncertainty? His gaze stopped at a tree heavy with fruit, and a thought struck him: every job has its hardships. No path is smooth. The question is, how do I truly want to live? But time was slipping away. The transfer order still sat on his desk, and only 3 days remained before he had to make a final choice. 3 days, far too short for a decision that would shape the rest of his life. Hung stood still in the orchard, his fist clenched tight. In the fading light of the day, his shadow stretched long across the ground, an image of hesitation, but also of quiet resolve. While Hung stayed behind at the orchard, inspecting each tree one by one, Hoai Ca was busy with her usual routine. That morning, she had risen early, harvested some fresh fruit, and especially a basket of tender green gourds. Carefully packing each load onto her old bicycle, she made her way to the market. Known for always choosing clean, quality produce with clear origins, Hoai Ca's stall was trusted, and her goods sold out quickly every time. On her way home, along the shaded village path lined with trees, she unexpectedly came across her foster mother. The woman who had stood by her since the fragile days after her family broke apart, always offering silent protection. Overjoyed, the two greeted one another and walked their bicycles home together. In the small kitchen, as the kettle bubbled and the scent of tea filled the room, Hoai Ca finally let her heart speak. "Mother, lately, I've seen Hung troubled. He's thinking of leaving the police force to stay with me and Tony. I know it's the career he's dedicated his whole life to, but it seems his heart is no longer at peace there." Her foster mother sat quietly, eyes deep with understanding. After a moment, she sighed softly. "My child, I know Hung. That boy has no real family left. Lytutien is married far away, his mother left long ago. He grew up without the warmth of a home, and now he longs for it all the more. You and Tony, you're the only place he feels he belongs." Hoai Ca lowered her head, twisting the hem of her shirt. The words pierced her heart. She knew well that Hung's desire to leave the force wasn't because he feared hardship. It was because he didn't want Tony to grow up abandoned, the way he once had. He wanted to be a true father, close, guiding, protective. Her foster mother's gaze softened, her voice slow yet resolute. "You must understand, Hung has given up much to be with you. That man, once he chooses family, it means you and Tony are above all else in his heart. So, think carefully, my dear. What path do you truly want Hung to take?" Hoai Ca sat in silence, her eyes reddening. Within her, happiness mingled with unease. Happiness because she and Tony were Hung's everything, fear because she worried that if he left the force, there might come a day he would regret it. Outside, dusk fell, crimson light spilling across the orchard. The quiet conversation between Hoai Ca and her foster mother only made Hung's decision feel heavier than ever. Hearing every word from her foster mother, it was as if a heavy stone was lifted from Hoai Ca's chest. Suddenly, she realized, all of Hung's choices, all of his actions, from buying the orchard, refusing long assignments, to even considering leaving the force, none of them were for himself. They were all for her and for Tony. Her eyes began to glisten, her trembling hand pressed against her chest as the depth of her love for Hung grew even stronger. She whispered softly, almost to herself. "So, he's been thinking of us all along." Her foster mother looked at her with a gentle smile and squeezed her hand firmly. Her voice was soft but resolute. "My child, every man faces crossroads in life. What matters is that the woman beside him knows how to walk with him. Whether Hung continues to wear the police uniform or chooses trade, you must respect that decision. Remember, a strong family doesn't depend on the job, but on the love and effort both share. If Hung decides to stay home, then stand with him, build together from the smallest things. With unity, there is no hardship you cannot overcome." Those words struck like a wake-up bell. Hoai Ca sat still for a long moment, then smiled through her tears. She nodded firmly, her gaze steadier than ever before. "You're right, Mother. I won't be afraid anymore. I'll stay by his side, no matter where he goes, no matter what he does. This love, this family, I will protect it." Seeing the change in her daughter's eyes and smile, the foster mother was reassured. She sipped her tea, her gaze filled with kindness and protection. Then she gently patted Hoai Ca's shoulder, rose to her feet, and said tenderly, "All right, I'll head back now. Take care of yourself, there's still much ahead. But I believe you and Hung will succeed." With that, she left, her figure slowly fading down the narrow village lane. Hoai Ca stood on the porch, her heart brimming with peace and determination. For the first time in many days, she saw the path ahead clearly. Whatever choice Hung made, she would be his steadfast harbor. That afternoon, after everything had temporarily settled, Hung returned home, his face still heavy with thought. Seeing him, Hoai Ca quietly placed a cup of water on the table, her eyes filled with both worry and gentleness. After a long silence, Hung finally began to speak, slowly recounting everything that had happened that day: the unexpected phone call, the tense negotiation with the orchard owner, and the tangled thoughts about the path ahead. Hoai Ca listened closely, her face tinged with sorrow but also lit with understanding. When Hung finished, she placed her hand gently over his, her voice trembling yet firm. "Hung, I know how much you've been struggling. I used to be afraid that if you left the force, you'd regret it one day, but now I understand. I don't want to force you to remain a policeman anymore. Whether you continue down the old road or start a new one, I will always be by your side. You are my shelter, and I will be your steady support." Hung's heart warmed at her words. The weight that had pressed so long on his shoulders suddenly eased. He gripped her hand tightly, his eyes shining with emotion. "Thank you, Hoai Ca. All I've ever wanted is to give you and Tony a happy, secure life. Whatever path I choose, I will give it everything I have. And I know, as long as you're with me, I will never fall." The two sat side by side for a long time, no more words needed, only understanding flowing through their eyes and smiles. Outside, the cicadas of late summer hummed, and the crimson glow of sunset spread over the orchard, as if bearing witness to a love growing ever deeper. Amid life's hardships, their love was not broken by trials, on the contrary, it became stronger and more beautiful with each passing day. For little Tony, this home had truly become a safe and complete haven, where a mother's love and a father's unwavering protection embraced him fully. That night, after their heartfelt conversation, Hung and Hoai Ca sat together for a long time. Both felt lighter, worries replaced by trust and love. In the small kitchen, the warm glow of a yellow lamp fell over them, soft laughter rising and dissolving the heaviness of the day. For Hoai Ca, It was the moment she realized that family was the most precious gift of all. For Hung, it was the clarity that no matter how many crossroads lay ahead, with Hoai Ca and Tony beside him, he would never be alone. Outside, the night wind rustled through the pomelo trees, the heavy fruit swaying as if bearing witness to a future slowly unfolding. Yet in that very moment, a storm of doubt stirred in Hung's heart. Only 3 days remained before he had to make his final decision. Would he return to the police force, where his memories and youthful ideals still lingered unfinished? Or would he turn decisively to trade, to fulfill the role of husband and father? Never before had Hoai Ca's love for him felt so vast, but this choice would decide the fate of their little family. Would Hung once again don the police uniform, sacrificing time at home to pursue his former ideals? Or would he stay, to build a complete home with Hoai Ca and raise Tony in love and stability? The answer still lies ahead. Stay tuned for the next episode to discover the choice Hung will make, and what awaits them beyond.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình đưa đến phần tiếp theo về câu chuyện của mẹ đơn thân Lý Hoai Ca và tình yêu cuộc sống cùng với cảnh sát Hùng. Mọi người ơi, như mọi người cũng biết thì hiện tại Hùng và Hoai Ca đã và đang ở chung với nhau rồi. Tuy nhiên thì còn rất là nhiều khó khăn trong cái quá trình tình yêu của hai người, khi Hùng đang rơi vào trong cái tình trạng là anh đang nợ nần rất là nhiều từ sau vụ của mẹ anh đấy. Thì anh rơi vào bị mất nhà và nợ nần rất là nhiều. Ngoài ra công việc thì cũng gặp khó khăn khi cấp trên yêu cầu anh phải luân chuyển công tác đến một nơi khác. Nơi ấy thì rất là xa Hoai Ca và Tony. Hùng thì đang muốn ở cạnh Hoai Ca và muốn ở cạnh Tony để cho Tony có một tuổi thơ ấm áp đầy đủ, có tình thương của cha. Vậy thì liệu Hùng sẽ quyết định như thế nào và Tony, Hoai Ca sẽ ra sao? Thì mời mọi người đón xem ở phần sau ở ngày mai nha mọi người.